The Mothers of Srebrenica have waited nearly 2 decades to get to this point. Financial compensation will never bring back the men they lost during that dark summer of 1995. But accountability is what's important here.
Srebrenica was a safe haven and the Dutch state betrayed us, so it's responsible for the deaths of our relatives.
The Dutch peacekeepers protecting the Srebrenica safe haven were outnumbered and in fear for their own lives. But in saving themselves and surrendering the town's Muslim men to the Serbs, they facilitated a genocide. Munira Subasic lost 22 members of her immediate family in Srebrenica. Remains of her youngest son were found only last year in a mass grave.
Last year I buried my youngest son, but basically all I had to bury was just 2 small pieces of bone. My son was literally abducted. The Dutch sent him away and gave him to the Chetniks. As his mother, I was praying and begging the Dutch and the Serbs for his release. The Serbs refused it, and the Dutch didn't even try to help.
These relatives in court today have been encouraged by a ruling from the Dutch Supreme Court last September, a ruling which confirmed that the Netherlands is responsible for the actions of its peacekeepers. But their attempt to sue the United Nations failed because the UN has wide-ranging legal immunity. There are those here who believe that now needs urgent reform.
To my opinion, it's wrong that the UN could uphold immunity in this case when you look at the sincere facts and what happened. I mean, we're talking about genocide and responsibility that the UN had and all the mistakes that were made.
The precedent has already been set. The Dutch government does bear both political and legal responsibility for what happened in Srebrenica in 1995. The question mark now, how many families will benefit from that? The judges will announce their decision on that later this year. Paul Brennan, Al Jazeera, The Hague.